So no one warned me about the real stoma problems, not the medical ones, the daily ones. Like the bag ballooning overnight, that itch you just can't scratch, and the noises that sound like a duck having an argument with another duck. So here are the stoma problems that no one warns you about. For those of you that don't know me, I am Tommy from Stoma Adventures, and we make content on IBDs and stomas. I originally had ulcerative colitis, no medication seemed to work for me, so now I've got a stoma. We try and pop in some tips, some tricks, some funny stuff, and we try and cover some advances in the stoma and IBD space as well, which is really exciting. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hype. It really helps out new creators like me. So let's start with the bag ballooning overnight. So ballooning, for people that don't know, is when the bag does this. And if you can't tell why, it's because of gas. So these bags should have a little filler, like you can see here, which should let the gas out, but pretty much every bag, they get blocked really easily. So when that's blocked, it means the bag fills up with gas. I change my bag every night to try and reduce this ballooning effect. But even doing that, it still balloons every morning. Because I change my bag every night, it means I get a full 8 hours sleep, which is pretty abnormal for people with stomas. Sometimes they have to get up once or twice or even 3 times a night. It doesn't work for everyone, but it's definitely something to try. Anyway, that is one of the most annoying things. It can happen to me in the evenings after I've eaten a large meal, and it's pretty visible through your clothes. So leaks at the worst times, and the last time I had a leak was probably one of the worst times you can have a leak, which was at my brother's stag do. Now, the reason it leaked is because I was wearing a support belt and I was a little bit drunk, I'm not gonna lie, and I wasn't checking to see how full the bag was. Luckily for me, the bag that I chose fits me really well and I really rarely have leaks, but that was the last time that I had a leak, which involved a lot of cleanup. Luckily no one knew, but I had to go into the bathroom and spend about half an hour there and people were wondering what I was doing. So the next one is probably quite a big one for me. If you've been on my TikTok or anything, you'll see that I post videos about this all the time. It's the stomas making farting noises. I don't know why, this happens to me a lot and I don't think it's normal for it to happen that much. I know it's down to my diet and I know it's down to me drinking fizzy drinks, which I shouldn't be doing anyway, but the noise it makes is a legit fart. And when I'm at a friend's house having a meal, which is normally when it kicks off, I end up having to put quite a lot of pressure on my stoma to stop it making noise. It can happen if you drink a lot of fizzy drinks, depending on what you eat. If you eat foods that produce a lot of gas, or even if you vape or smoke, it can introduce a lot of air into your system. But there is actually a product that helps that in the US, which I've tried and it does work. I'll probably have to do another video on that, but I'll put the link in the description anyway. So when I'm working or I'm doing DIY, I can sweat a lot, which is normal for people, or if you exercise or if you go to the gym, sometimes this can make the bag start peeling. So what I mean by that is this is the base plate. It can start peeling away at the top and the sides and the bottom because it's reacting with the sweat. Oh, I shouldn't sit cross-legged. It is pretty annoying, I'm not gonna lie, but I found if I use a support belt, it helps keep everything pressed in place and it doesn't peel as much, but that also makes you hotter and sweatier, so it's not perfect. It's something that I've learned to live with. It doesn't mean the bag's gonna fall off, it just starts peeling and it's a little bit annoying. So the next one is something that I call the dreaded itch. It's an itch that you can't scratch. It's like having an itch on your foot when you've got a shoe on, but when you have that itch, you can take your shoe off and itch it. For someone with a stoma, you can't itch it. So the only thing that I can think to do is give it a tap. Now, it normally itches like that because you might have a little bit of output around the opening or whatever you want to call it. So it doesn't necessarily mean the whole thing started to leak, but normally the itch goes away on its own, but it'll definitely go away if you change the bag. If you leave output on your skin for too long, it can cause a rash or it can make you a bit sensitive. You can use barrier cream or barrier spray to help that feel less sensitive and less itchy. So this next one, I have said you can wear what you want with a stoma, but it doesn't mean that it's easy all the time. Most things for me are fixed when I wear a support belt or supportive underwear. I don't know why I just said it like that, underwear. But if you don't want to wear a support belt or if you don't want to wear supportive wear, and some people can't as well because it can cause pancaking issues, and sometimes you just want to tuck your bag away, it can end up looking like this. See, it doesn't actually look too bad, but if it's a little bit full or it's got a little bit of gas in it, it pinches it off and it makes it like a balloon. See, again, not the end of the world. Just try supportive wear and see if it works for you. It works for me really well. I love it. So public toilets. This is quite a big day-to-day one, especially when you're out. I mean, only when you're out because it's public, because you never know, especially with a men's toilet, how disgusting it's going to be. And some of these men's toilets are absolutely disgusting. When I'm at home, I kneel on the floor and empty the bag into the toilet, which I'm fine with because I know it's clean. I clean the toilet. But when I'm in public, I'm not going to a public toilet and kneeling on that floor. Never. It's not going to happen. So you have to get a bit creative on the ways that you can empty it. I mean, doing it in porta potties is quite interesting, or just doing it in a public toilet is quite interesting as well. I have found a little system where I can basically hang it over the toilet, stood up, and empty it. It's a little bit risky though, so I'm not going to recommend it to anyone. Some people say sitting on the toilet seat backwards works for them. I've not tried that personally, and the toilet seat can be just as gross as the floor sometimes in these toilets. I think it's just a little bit of trial and error, to be honest. So another one is what I like to call food output roulette. You never really know when the stoma is going to go. I know that's not shocking to anyone, but it can be quite hard to predict when you're going to need the bathroom. Sometimes I can go all day without having to empty the bag, and some days I can just be full within an hour and I have no idea what happened. To be honest, it is just part of day-to-day life with a stoma, and it's really not that hard to manage. It's more just something that you learn to live with, and it becomes easier with experience. And my last one is staying over at other people's houses. Because I change my bag every night, it can cause some anxiety of changing the bag because you need space or a surface to be able to change your bag. You need to throw away the old bag and all the products, which can be pretty awkward if you're at a friend's house and you don't want to let them know what you're doing. The smell's not great, and you need to spend quite a bit of time in the bathroom, so you don't really want to make anyone worry about you. This one does bother me quite a bit. It means that I don't want to stay over at people's houses quite a lot. Not that I love doing that anyway, but it's just another hurdle that I need to get over, especially for visiting friends and stuff like that. It's nice to be able to stay over sometimes. So I'll stop my rant in there. It might look like I'm moaning or it's something that is really hard to live with, but it's not. Some of these I had to actually really think about, because the longer that you have a stoma, the easier it gets. These problems are actually tiny compared to the quality of life that I had before I got a stoma. So don't let this put you off. I just want to be open about things that bother me and things that could bother you, and hopefully there's some little solutions in there for you as well. If you've got any questions, please pop them in the comments. Or if you've got some things that annoy you as well, pop them in the comments so we can talk about them. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hype. It really helps out new creators like me, and I'll see you in the next one.